Tonight we're showing, obviously, If a Tree Falls by Marshall Curry. We have Elizabeth Martin, his producing partner, and also his wife, who you'll find out during the Q&A is an integral reason into why the film was made and how the film was made. And we also have Rick Scarce, who is an expert in environmental terrorism, who wrote a book called Eco Warriors, and is the chairman of the sociology department of Skidmore College, who's a very interesting guy and will shed some light on what you're going to see.
1,200 incidents are being accredited to the ELF and ALF in this country, and not a single injury or death. Those statistics don't happen by accident.
Terrorist acts under the definition in the law can vary all over the board. There's no requirement for purposes of terrorism that you physically endanger another person's life. I mean, you don't have to be Bonnie and Clyde to be a bank robber, and you don't have to be Al-Qaeda to be a terrorist.
I just wanted to start by asking Elizabeth to talk about how this film came to be.
I think Marshall was very curious about this fact that there was a person who seemed very unlikely to do any of this or capable of committing such grand arson, and it contradicted his vision of what a terrorist or someone who would do something like this was, so that's what piqued his interest in the story.
Is terrorism the new sort of red communist term that's just being used, that can be conveniently used to label people who maybe are just, in some cases, criminals or in other cases radicals? What does it really mean?
Well, I would suggest that every act of environmental terrorism that has ever occurred in the United States needs to be relabeled. I think that terrorism label is misused. It's misused because radical environmentalists have never killed anyone. In fact, they have not harmed anyone through their actions.
And Professor Scarce, what struck me about the film was the fine line that we live in as a society, where there are people like radical environmentalists or radicals from all sorts of groups. There are laws that should protect us against those people, but there also are laws that should protect all of us from the actions of law enforcement.
On Sunday morning, about 2:30 in the morning, about 11 people went up into the trees to prevent them from being cut.
They came in right away wearing riot gear and gas masks and stuff like that.
So bang, bang, bang on the door at 8 in the morning. Some kid says, get out there, they're pepper spraying them in the trees, get your camera, you gotta get there. I mean, they're pepper spraying them right now.
Hang in there, Jim!
Social movements can teach us a great deal about the status of our society, the status of power. Who has it? Do we as citizens have it? Or are those freedoms being eroded? There were clips of some women who were around a table. They seemed to be sitting on the floor, and in fact they were, and pepper spray was being dabbed into, or something was being dabbed into their eyes. That occurred in a member of Congress's field office in Northern California, and no one on his staff said, stop, don't do this to these people. It's a frightening thing, I think, when we see that kind of development, and that's one of the things that social movements do, is again, to allow us to gauge exactly where police power versus their protective role begin and end.
We asked Marshall to give us reasons, like how to react. And he actually said, well, it's hard because he wants people to just take it in and make up your own decisions about it. He didn't really have either side.
In this particular instance, he went in not really knowing what was going on, and as he dug deeper, it got more and more complex. So he said he tries to make it clear he's not trying to be balanced about it. Marshall's hope is that everybody gets pushed out of their comfort zone a little bit. Everybody thinks a little bit more about what the other person has to say.
Please, if you think about this issue and you have a comment, go to facebook.com/reacttofilm. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Donate to support our activities, especially in high school and college. And I just want to thank again Professor Scarce for coming from Skidmore, and thank you, Elizabeth, for coming.
Thank you so much. Yeah.